So Forrest, one last time, take us through a realistic price prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually not going to be focused on any particular altcoin or even Bitcoin. We're going to be doing a realistic prediction for the total crypto market cap. And this is a chart that I haven't revisited in a while, but I wanted to talk about because, to be quite honest, I think it's the most important chart in all of crypto. And I think it's the most important chart in all of crypto because it is all of crypto. This is total cryptocurrency market cap. So this is just the market caps of Bitcoin and all altcoins combined. And what you're going to see as we look in this zoomed out view of weekly candles here is that we're currently trading at about $2 trillion, $1.98 trillion in total cryptocurrency market cap. You're also going to notice that this has been going up and to the right. That's why I am so bullish on crypto, among the fundamental reasons. But just from a chart perspective, total cryptocurrency market cap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's the fastest growing asset class that I know of. I think it's the fastest growing asset class in the world. And it's outpacing a lot of disruptive technologies that we've seen in the past, with like the adoption of television, the adoption of streaming, the adoption of the internet even. It's just outpacing that growth. And this is why I'm happy to have a portion of my portfolio that I'm just in for the long haul. I'm just investing in the long term. However, I do have a portion of my portfolio that I like to trade from time to time with shorter term timeframes, because the good thing about cryptocurrency and the total crypto market cap and the space as a whole is there's tons of alpha to be had. There's tons of volatility and there's tons of inefficiencies that we can take advantage of in the short term. So I do want to draw your attention to the fact that this is a linear trend line, but this scale here on the right is a logarithmic scale. So when you have linear growth on a logarithmic scale, what that ultimately equates to is exponential growth. Crypto is growing absolutely exponentially. So the next thing I want to draw your attention to is just this ascending wedge pattern that we're currently in. Now, Bill just got through with a market update talking about how we may very well be primed for a bounce here. And I actually think this is as good of a place as any to bounce. I do think that, as Bill mentioned, if we get a washout, I'm going to cut to Bitcoin for just a moment here. If we get a washout, we could see $34,000 to $35,000. And in fact, one of the things I've been talking about recently is a trip back up to 46K, which could be a good place to sell a little bit, right? And just in case we go to 35. And if we break through 46K, we can buy it on the other side of the trend line. Now, back to total cryptocurrency market cap. I want to talk about this trend line because it's historically what has held support even in bear markets. We've only really broken below it on 2 occasions, and those were the 2 best occasions to buy crypto pretty much ever. One being back in the pandemic, March of 2020, when this first hit. But we would expect that this trend line should hold as a level of support should we see this exponential growth continuing. And if we look at the fact that the total cryptocurrency market cap recently peaked at $3 trillion and is only currently at $2 trillion, I don't see any reason why this exponential growth can't continue for some period moving forward, whether that's 2 years, 4 years, or even the next decade. We're looking at an entire asset class that is only at $2 trillion when compared to a single stock, Apple, at $2.8 trillion, or a different asset class, gold, which is $11.4 trillion, right? So the entire asset class, Bitcoin plus all altcoins, is currently only about $2 trillion. And if we were to actually zoom in and look at this idea of days to fair value, right? Days to fair value is just simply how long would we expect this trend line to take to catch up to the level that we're currently valued at. Well, we're currently valued at $2 trillion. Well, where does this trend line intersect that level, $2 trillion? Well, roughly December 2022, right? Roughly a year from now. So if we were to buy crypto today, we would say that roughly 343 days would go by until we would expect this trend line to catch up and act as support. Meaning, if we went into a bear market today and we broke down to this trend line, how long would it be before we expect to be back to the levels that we're currently at? Roughly 340 days. And in terms of risk, this is a fairly low risk level compared to where we've been for the vast majority of this bull market. In fact, the last time we peaked back in May, right, we were roughly 665. Actually, I drew that a little bit incorrectly. It's actually closer to 700 days to fair value, right? And if we look at our most recent peak at $3 trillion, we were roughly 600 days to fair value. If we look at previous peaks in our total cryptocurrency market cap in previous bull market cycles, we can see that we had peaks as high as 1,200 days away from this trend line and 1,449 days away from this trend line, respectively, right? So we know the crypto market is a speculative market, can withstand very, very high risk levels, very high levels of speculation, levels that we really have not yet seen in this market cycle. We've peaked at roughly 600 to 700 days to fair value. But if we just arbitrarily said, well, halfway through the year, July 1st, halfway through July 2022, and Bill has some excellent analysis showing that we could see, if we do see a parabolic move, we could see that in Q3 October, but that's a little bit far away. So I just wanted to pick an arbitrary date. Just remember that that parabolic move may not be until October if we get that. But we are, and I hate to be the guy talking about, I hate to be the YouTuber, right? This is a realistic prediction, but I hate to be the YouTuber talking about parabolic moves when we're sitting at the bottom of this trend channel and we're in the midst of kind of a market sell-off. But we are making a very similar ascending wedge, which, by the way, are usually bearish patterns, but we're making a very similar ascending wedge to what we saw back in 2017. We're just seeing it take much longer. It's actually taking about 3 times the length of time for each of these moves to the top and bottom of this wedge. So if we get a bounce here, or we even start to trickle up like we did back in 2017, we could potentially see some sort of parabolic move in 2022, right? So with that in mind, I want to talk about how high could we realistically see this total cryptocurrency market cap go? Well, I think realistically by July, or maybe it will take until October, but I just picked July arbitrarily because it's halfway through this year. It's 6 months down the road where our human minds are really good at small chunks of time. We know how long 3 months is. We know how long 6 months is. I start talking about 9 months to a year. People might get a little impatient, a little too far out. So July of 2022, halfway through the year, if we were at 600 days to fair value, 600 days to fair value, which we've surpassed on 2 occasions this market cycle, once with our first peak and again with our second peak, which was around 600 days to fair value. If we were to peak around that same level sometime in July, we would have a total cryptocurrency market cap of $5 trillion, right? 2.5 times where we're currently at. 2.5 times of where we're currently at, right? So the market can absolutely withstand a move upwards, right? And again, there's all this global macro stuff going on, and we can talk about stocks and S&P 500 and money printing all day long. But I want to get to the bottom of what can this speculative market really actually withstand. Even if everything goes well for the crypto market, what can we actually withstand? I would argue 600 days to fair value is completely fair, and $5 trillion at some point in 2022 is completely fair. And that's a 2.5x from where we're at right now. Now, what's the downside if we were just to fall out of the bottom of this pattern and go back down to this trend line and into a bear market? What's the downside? Well, the downside is about 37%. And of course, certain altcoins would way underperform that. Some altcoins could get washed out. A 37% move downwards in total crypto market cap, that could be brutal for some altcoins. For other altcoins, they might not even flush. We're starting to see the decoupling of a lot of these really solid projects, layer ones, interoperability plays like Cosmos really do well despite Bitcoin being down, right? So the risk is about 37%, but the potential reward to buying right now is actually 155% realistically. And that's a pretty good risk to reward ratio if you ask me. Now, I also just want to talk about for reference Apple and gold, right? If we were at 335 days to fair value, which is really close to where we're at right now in terms of days to fair value, we would be at about $2.8 trillion by July of 2022, which is the entire crypto space as a whole matching Apple's market cap, one stock's market cap. And we're talking about an entire asset class. So again, completely realistic. And then of course we have gold, which is, I believe, the largest asset by market cap currently. And that would require a speculative bubble of about 946 days to fair value by July. And maybe that could be some scenario that we see, maybe we'd see 10 or $11 trillion sometime in October or December if we did see a big parabolic move out of the crypto market cap right now, which I know a lot of people a month, 2 months ago when we were here, everyone was saying, we're going parabolic, we're going parabolic. Well, we didn't go parabolic, but I don't think that it's unreasonable to assume that we could potentially towards the end of the year. So just keep that in mind. Joe, I hope this was helpful, and I hope it helps frame in your mind what is realistic for the crypto market, at least in the short term, over the next 6 to 12 months.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.